You're listening to the Abolitionist Round Table, patriotic Black American conservatism, with your hosts, Del, Phil, and Janice, leading the charge and advancing the 4%. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600.
All right, folks, we're back. You're back on the Abolitionist Round Table, one of America's fastest growing weekend radio shows in Southeast Michigan. Again, I just wanted to mention that if you want to listen to, if you have to run out the house and you want to still continue to listen to the show, you can go to artofmichigan.com. Again, artofmichigan.com. There's a WAM logo right to your right, black logo. In orange, black, orange, and yellow. Click on that. Listen live. You can listen live. If you don't want to listen that way, you can click on our shows, and there's an archive of shows. You can listen to it later, or you can go to YouTube and put in Abolitionist Round Table of Michigan. That's Abolitionist Round Table of Michigan. You'll see the whole archive of shows. Or another way you can listen is TuneIn. You'll see a TuneIn logo right on the website. While you're there on the website, you're going to see right at the top. You're going to see "Stop the Invasion." There's a petition. You can sign that petition. We need you to sign that petition because we have to stop this invasion, folks. Folks, these are people that's coming in. They are invading. This is a mass takeover of America. So if you don't see that, I mean, the people that listen to this show, people that listen to this show, we all are news people, so we watch some of the things that's going on. But it's important. Take this show right here today and email it to a friend, email it to a relative. They have to know some of the facts that's going on. I'm going to try to quote, when I point something out, I try to tell you the source so that they can go for themselves to the source and read about this. That's what's really important for people to also listen, but then all turn around and have that information in front of them so that they can read it for themselves. Then the last thing I want to just mention, I want you to, it's right on the side, there's a black logo. It says register for our 5th annual fall group tour. We're going again. We're going to the Holocaust Memorial Center. We're going to walk the halls of history. We're going to see the faces of what evil does, folks. We have to know if we're going to confront what we see in front of us, we have to first confront what happened in the past. So, again, we want you to join us at our 5th annual tour. That's on Friday, November 6th. All right. Now, we're going to get back to Luke. Luke is... he's no stranger to the Abolitionist Round Table. Also, we have Professor Alice Washington is going to be with us in a few minutes. So if you don't mind, hold it on. And Luke is a retired FBI. He worked on the terrorist task force. So he's going to help us understand. We need to understand, folks. We need to know what's really going on with this influx of people. He was just mentioning that. Matter of fact, get him on, Derek. Because we have no way of vetting all these people. Hello,
that's
Luke.
exactly right, Del.
We have no way of vetting all these people, and we have this here. I just want to read something. This is from Pamela Gellert's website, PamelaGellert.com, and one of the things she pointed out is that the Islamic State had warned Europe that they will send 500,000 migrants as a weapon. So we see that this influx of Muslims, that she said that ISIS made the statement back in February that they would send this 500,000 Muslim migrants in a psychological attack against the West. Is this what we're seeing right now?
I absolutely think it is. One of the first questions you have to ask yourself is, what are the refugees fleeing from? Now, I understand when you have small groups like Yazidis and certainly Christians from that region, because they are being slaughtered.
That's true.
But you have a huge influx, predominantly of Sunni Muslims, from ISIS is predominantly Sunni Muslim. So So that flies in the face of that they would be a refugee, population.
Okay. So
one of the other things you could look at.
Are they running from what is it? Are they running from their own? What is it called again?
ISIL?
No. What is it that they established their own
caliphate?
Caliphate.
Oh, yeah.
Are they running from a caliphate?
Exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them say that, hey, we're running from the Shias because now that they've been empowered through Iran and through the Syrian administration, that they're going to put us or rule over us with a heavy hand. But certainly, just at a very base level, when you think, wait a minute, ISIS is creating the reason for this influx of refugees. They told us they were going to do that.
Yes.
And now they're sending this mass wave of Sunni refugees at us. I mean, it seems at a very base value, you'd say, hey, stop. We'll put up a no-fly zone in Syria, and you guys stay right there, right where you're at, into a safe zone, basically. If you recall, during the after the first Iraqi invasion, so that Saddam wouldn't attack and kill the Kurds, we set up a no-fly zone, and we enforced that.
Yes.
You do the same thing and keep those folks there in their own homeland, their own country. Then again, getting back to this huge influx of military-age fighters, you turn them around and say, hey, that is your country. You guys need to go and defend your country against this onslaught of these psychotic radical Islamic fighters and or these Shia fighters that are now being sent through and propped up by the Iranian government.
Here, we have somebody that want to ask you a question. Derek, can you get Bruce from Grosse Pointe on? And then we're going to have to let you go because we're going to have to continue this conversation. This is a very, very important conversation that you're having with us, Luke, but we have a caller that want to ask you a question. Go ahead. Good morning, Bruce.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Del and Janice, and good morning, Luke. Hey, this is one reason why we have to have new leadership in the Speaker of the House, so he can start leading the way especially on immigration and this type of thing. This is just what to me is a logical conclusion of what's been going on for the last 50 years, ever since our immigration policy was changed by none other than Ted Kennedy himself. I mean, we were told that, we don't have to worry about chain migration, we don't have to worry about this, we don't have to worry about that. And like you've pointed out, the Mariel boat lift, we started with that, and it's just gotten worse ever since. Kind of like your impressions on that.
Yeah, and it just continues from administration to administration, bringing in these influx of people who we have absolutely no idea who they are. I personally dealt with people who came into the country illegally, kind of with the refugee masses, and they oftentimes came in with false documents from countries saying, hey, I'm persecuted, I come in, and we find them, hey, this guy's got a fraudulent passport, and I try and get him prosecuted, and the government wouldn't allow me to prosecute them. So then...
something...
Oops, I'm
we
sorry.
must have got...
Hello?
Must have disconnected Luke.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
all right, I must have disconnected him by accident. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, anyway, we have Professor Alice Washington on the phone with us now.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Dale and Janice?
Oh, my goodness. Ellis, did you hear that brilliant statement that was made by Dr. Ben Carson? Matter of fact, Derek, can you play number 3 for me, please? I want to hear... You're a constitutional scholar. Matter of fact, we're going to try to get into your book in a few minutes. You have a book that's coming out that we want to make sure that our listeners know where so they can be one of the first ones to get your book. But play number 3 for me, Derek.
Let me wrap this up by finally dealing with what's been going on, Donald Trump, and I deal with a questioner that claimed that the president was Muslim. Let me ask you the question this way. Should a president's faith matter? Should your faith matter to voters?
Well, I guess it depends on what that faith is. If it's inconsistent with the values and principles of America, then of course it should matter. But if it fits within the realm of America and consistent with the Constitution, no problem.
So do you believe that Islam is consistent with the Constitution?
No, I don't. I do not. I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
And you...
Okay. Can you tell me exactly, Professor Washington, what was wrong with that statement?
Dale, thanks so much. Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. It's right on point. And this just shows you how crazy our country has lurched to the left. I mean, we're just, let me just break it down. We're shackled in what I call socialism slavery. And it's like our brains, I guess it's from years of being indoctrinated in our state-sponsored public school systems, which I call propaganda factories, especially higher education. It's just really fried our brains. I mean, what Dr. Carson said is actually rooted in history. You were speaking earlier about your upcoming trip to the Holocaust Memorial Museum, which is very important, and I've attended that.
Yes, you have.
A couple of times, and it's very important. One of the things I've been doing, God's put on my heart, was I've written probably over the last 2 months a series of essays. If your viewers would like to visit my website, elliswashingtonreport.com, you'll see a series of essays I've been doing on the Nazi period and how what they've done is so similar to what's going on here. Now, with Ben Carson, he's talking about Islam, right? Well, listen to what, I'm not even going to tell you who said it, but I'm just going to read the quote, then I'll tell you in a minute. It says this, the only religion I respect is Islam. The only prophet I admire is the Prophet Muhammad. And then one more short quote. I'll read it in German, and then I'll translate. Der Islam ist unsere Weltanschauung sehr ähnlich. Translation, Islam is very similar to our Nazi worldview. The first quote was by Adolf Hitler.
Yes.
Second quote by his right-hand man and second in command, Heinrich Himmler.
Wow.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yes.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? And in fact, political correctness was instituted by Hitler and his Nazi regime, wasn't it, Ellis?
Absolutely. And, you know, what we call political correctness, what they call Weltanschauung, which means worldview.